The main role of production is taking the manuscript from the editors and producing a finished book. Within that role, we look after typesetting, proofing, and dealing with printers and making sure everything runs smoothly from every step of the way. We pretty much deal with every much other department in terms of like we'll get material from them in order to create the finished book, and it's a great role. You know, you get to work with everyone, you get to kind of work in scheduling, you get to work with the book and work with the text, so it's really involved, but also really fulfilling and satisfying role, and one of the lesser known areas of publishing for sure. What attracted me to the role was the fact that, again, it's a lesser known area of publishing. Not like everyone kind of talks about editing and marketing, which is fair because those are jobs. They're also very fun, but I like production because it's very much like one of the main team player jobs where you work at every other department in some kind of aspect, and you're the one kind of bringing everything together into the finished book and kind of taking a bit from everyone in order to get things sorted. And you're getting to work with a lot of different people, you're getting to do a lot of different jobs. It's not like you're fixed into one certain area. You get to work with different programs like InDesign, whereas also working with if you're doing like EPUBs, you get to work with kind of files like that. So there's a lot of areas you can work in, and yeah, it's just it's a lot about communication and getting to try different things. I know this is my first role in production. I had worked on a mentorship program where I got to work with someone who worked production at Canongate, and they taught me a lot. They taught me the different kind of programs you use, what production entails, what the different kind of meetings you're going to have for production, whether it is looking over schedules or looking over what's at what area of development. Getting to do that and getting to meet with people who work in production was something that brought me to the role and made me want to try it out, and I'm very glad I did because I've been enjoying it a lot and learning a lot. I've really enjoyed being part of a team with Stryvling Press. Within production, there's been two of us. It's been me and Pam, who have both been production controllers. And it's been really helpful having someone else working in the department with you, because you can take on different tasks, you can help each other when you're struggling with something, and there is a lot of work to do. Like, as well as working on Time and Tide, we've also been working on the digital versions of the book. We've also been working on past versions of Stryvling Press books and working on reprints. So having someone else to bounce off of has been great. And then in terms of working with other departments, like, even though we all have our certain roles, everyone kind of helps out with each other, as we are quite a small press. It's a very teamwork kind of attitude to have, and yeah, it's been great getting to know everyone, because we've all been on the course together and we've all kind of got to know each other for that. But this has been like an extra added little thing that's kind of brought everyone together, especially during COVID, where everything went a bit to mess. So yeah, it's been good. My favourite part of the process was working with InDesign. It's a program I've not got to use that often. We got to use it a bit this year as part of our coursework, and I've really enjoyed it the more I've gotten to use it. It can be very complicated to get the hang of, but I feel like once you get it, it has a certain rhythm to working on it. And doing the typesetting for the book using InDesign was something I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did. It's quite weirdly relaxing to work on, especially when you've got a book that is over 100 pages, so you're kind of just going page by page. And yeah, I really enjoyed using it, really enjoyed getting to understand it, and then seeing the final product that we made using it was really, honestly, great feeling to see it be fully done and then being able to send it off to the printers. The most difficult aspect of working within production has probably been making the ebook. It's been really fun trying to learn the different programs you need to use to make it, and then also there's some knowledge of HTML code and stuff like that in there, which has been interesting as someone coming from a English lit background to try and learn that. But it has been a lot of fun, but also it is very much a finicky kind of thing to work with, as small errors can lead to massive errors in terms of how it looks. So we have been working a very trial by error kind of basis on working with that, and it has been a long process trying to get it done, but at the same time I think it is very much taught us a lot on how to use those programs, and as well as the basic errors that will come up when you're trying to create an ebook, as well as just like try to think of the user experience and how that's going to look for the person reading it and what they're looking for when they purchase an ebook. One thing people might not know about working within production is that I think it's more creative than people give it credit for. Like, I think when we think of like being creative within publishing, obviously there's the writers, but then when it comes to actually the aftermath of working on the book, I think people look to editing and getting to work with the text and getting to try and make it the best it can be. But I think production does have those areas where you get to like work with like what kind of font you're going to do, how the book's going to look inside, like kind of working in that with like typesetting and stuff like that. Whereas I know for big publishing companies, you do send off the typesetting, but when you're working on like a small press like this and you do have production who will maybe work on typesetting and maybe work on proofing, I think there's a little bit more leeway with getting to be a little bit more creative with the book and how it looks, and that's been really fun to do, to work out the best way to make it the best thing it can be, really. I also asked this question to my mentor at the time who was working in production, and the main thing she said to me was that production is a role that if you have any experience in, it's going to be very helpful in getting jobs, since most people do come from either editing or marketing background in terms of experience. So if you're looking for experience, if you're trying to take on internships, ask about maybe getting some experience in production, and I think it will be hugely beneficial if it is something, an area of the publishing industry that you want to work in, since I don't think there's that many people that will have actual production experience, so it will kind of give you possibly a slight edge. So yeah, I think that's a good advice probably for anyone who's want to try to get into it, for sure.